Hey everybody, it's Friday, end of the week. Can you believe we went through our first full week here on the Real Kyper at Noon show, and it was a fantastic week. Great guests, Ian Pulver, Matthew Schneider, Eddie Olchuk. How good was Edzo yesterday on our program? Heartfelt story. If you haven't seen it, give it a click. I'm telling you, you won't turn it off. Right from beginning to end, you'll laugh, you'll cry, and you'll do everything in between. But it is a terrific story, and we're so happy that Eddie was able to join us. All right, we're going to keep it going here because it's a great way to finish the week. Gary Roberts, yes, and I will tell you one thing. I've never met a more unique individual than Gary Roberts in terms of intensity on and off the ice, and now he's bringing it on to his current lineup of players that he trains hard and how they'll get ready for this 24-team tournament. You know who else had a really good week? You know who else is the talk of our training camp here at Real Kyper at Noon? Mr. Doug Maclean. How does that make you feel, Mac, knowing right now that my scouts, my general manager, my presidents, they're all talking about you having a terrific training camp so far?
Well, see, the difference between me and you is I'm not out to produce or to sell to a director of hockey operations. I gun for bigger things. I like to deal with the presidents and vice presidents. So I've basically bypassed you if it was quite. Oh, so you know what? It doesn't surprise me that I've had a great week. I've had a lot of free time, a lot of relaxation. I was ready to do something. So I had a great week. You were pretty good yourself. I was quite proud of you. I mean, you fill in terrifically for Merrick and Millard.
Still Ron McLean, David Amber.
Yeah, you're right there with the big boys.
Didn't we say all along, what do we need a host for?
We did say that on many occasions. And as a matter of fact, we said it to some of them to their face. Anyway, it was a good week. I've had fun.
And it's going to finish strong because we got Gary Roberts coming up here. You want me to ask him to get you on a program or anything?
No, I'm fine. I mean, I'm at 194. It's the lightest I've been in ages, so I feel real good. I've been solidly training. Golf game's good. I'm on top of things right now. I feel really good about where I am.
Good. Okay, let's get right into it. We heard yesterday the big news out of Seattle. Okay. Kraken. Seattle Kraken. Now, I'm thinking, I hear that. My first thought is Kraken heads, Kraken skulls. And I'm sitting there going, this is 2020. We can't say Kraken heads and skulls anymore. We're a kinder, gentler NHL. We can't be talking about hitting heads and Kraken heads. What were your thoughts?
Well, I was caught off guard. I was looking through the 13 potential names this morning, the Seals and all the different things, the Seattle Totems, which was the old Central Pro or Western Pro League team that was in Seattle, the Evergreens. I mean, I saw Kraken at the top, one of the top ones. I thought, what is a Kraken?
Well,
but I mean, this happens all the time. The Atlanta Thrashers, I didn't know what a Thrasher was.
Okay,
Blue Jackets. I didn't know what a Blue Jacket was.
We have this thing called Google now, Mac. You can just, type it in, and you're going to figure out that we're talking about a mythical, sea monster, an octopus. I don't know what direction they went, but clearly they think they've got something that the players will really get behind and love. Did you see the colors? Did you like everything about it? Maybe. If it isn't a great name?
I think it's going to be a great franchise. I really do. I think it's got a chance to be one of the most successful franchises coming into the league. I really do. Not only because of all the Players Association NHL agreements that should favor them, much like a Vegas. I can't believe the GMs will be that dumb, but I think they've got a great management team behind them. And I think they've got a good ownership group behind them. And I think they have a great city. So I think it's got every chance. I mean, you go into some of the markets we went into in Atlanta to try to sell hockey, into Columbus to sell hockey. I never forget my 9-year-old son going to school, Clark, And he comes home our first week in Columbus, and he said to me, Dad, they hate hockey here. I don't think it's going to go good. They love football. They love the Buckeyes, but they hate hockey here. So I said, okay, we got to give it a chance, Clarky. But you know what? So I think they've got an amazing head start, even over Vegas from a fan perspective, because there's a hockey background there. The name Krakens, like, who cares? If they become a good team, everybody will like it.
We'll get used to it. We'll get used to it.
For sure.
Now, let me ask you something. Todd Lewicki gets up on the crane or in a building that's still being renovated. Did it bring memories back to you at all, going through it with the Columbus Blue Jackets? Because I can recall way back then going, Blue Jackets? What the hell is a blue jacket? Is it an insect? Is it a bug? What the heck is it?
Well, really interesting. It came down to the two final names for the team. This was before I got hired, and it was down to Blue Jackets and Mad Cows. So I'm in Florida.
Excuse me?
Florida, or I should say the Mad Cows and the Blue Jackets. So I'm in Florida.
Mad Cows. Coaching. I never heard that.
So somebody came into Dwayne Sutter, Lindy Ruff, and I were sitting in the coach's room, and somebody came in and said, "Hey, look at the new logo for the Blue Jackets." And it was like Woody Woodpecker on the front of a T-shirt, and it was Stinger, and that was going to be their logo. I get to Columbus a few months later. They come in and show me this logo, and they gave me my business cards with President GM, and Woody Woodpecker was in the corner of my business card. I said, "Guys, we cannot have this as our logo on the jersey. Seriously, this has got to be changed." So that's where the CBJ logo came from. Then the Ohio flag was initiated into it by Mike Humes, who was my VP of senior. So we changed the logo over a couple of years, but I was scared to death Stinger was going to be on the jerseys. And if you recall, the first Blue Jacket logo, Stinger was on the arm. And so where did Stinger come from? First of all, I was told it was an insect in Ohio. I get to Ohio and they've never heard of it. Then I heard it was because of the blue coats. The Blue Jackets came from blue coats in the Civil War.
That's right.
They made the coats in Ohio. So I think they've gone to a military theme there, which I think has really been genius with the cannon and so on. So I like the way it's hit, but it was a struggle, let me tell you. So Krakens is really simple, in my opinion, compared to what the Blue Jacket challenge was.
Oh, I think Seattle's going to have a blast with it. And they're going to eat all of that up. And we know, Mac, we're talking about millions of dollars in jerseys and logos, and it's more important than ever, right? And I was told that this announcement would have happened a lot sooner, but there was some issues with Kraken. And if you go back, if you Google it, it's about Kraken rum. Now, I'm wondering, Mac, if there was a little bit of a payoff to get that name. What do you think?
It wouldn't surprise me. Isn't it payoffs all the time about something here? So, you know what? Is there a payoff? I don't know. Is it a kind of a weird name? Because we're not from that area, we don't know about the alcohol part of it. We don't know about the sea monster, at least I don't. We don't have any Krakens in PEI. We have the odd seal. No. We have the odd.
You guys got crackers. That's what you got.
We have crackers. Exactly. So anyway, Krakens, I don't really like it, but if they win, we'll like it.
Do they need a ship? Do they need a cannon? Now, was the cannon your idea in Columbus?
The cannon was sort of a late issue with me in Columbus because I sensed I was getting fired. This jacket back at Booster Club kept sending me stuff about cannons, and it was driving me crazy.
They wanted one. That's what you're telling me.
They wanted a cannon. So finally, I think I'm going to get fired. I walked down the hallway and I talked to my VP of marketing. I said, "Look, would you get a cannon? Let's order a cannon." Because I knew I would probably be fired and wouldn't have to put up with it. So they got a cannon. So
it's legendary now in Columbus.
And I love it. Look, we went in there for the All-Star game, and I mean, it went off 28 times because the score was like 17-14 or whatever, and we listened to the cannon go off. I think it's been a great thing. I love it.
and you know it's coming, and you still jump when it goes off.
Now it's going to go off in Toronto. So when the Blue Jackets score against Toronto in the playoffs, the cannon will go off at the Air Canada Centre. No, what's it called? Scotiabank Arena. Yeah. So the cannon will be moved to Toronto.
Okay, honestly, aren't we going a little overboard here? You're getting a cannon sound. The real cannon's not showing up. They're going to just replay the sound of the cannon.
Yeah, I suspect that's what
for the 20 players and the 4 coaches. Yeah. That's who they're doing it for?
No, and the cardboard fans. Don't forget, we're going to have cardboard fans sitting in the stands. So didn't you see the NBA exhibition game with the cardboard fans and the crowd noise? Like it was amazing. So it'll be wild there.
There's some quiet buildings that we assumed already had cardboard fans.
Right, exactly. I used to love it when I was in my box and we were struggling big time, and I'd see people sitting there on the glass with the bags over their heads. Like I thought, oh my God, I want to throttle those guys. But anyway, we deserved it, I guess.
All right. Well, listen, we're gonna talk to Gary Roberts coming up here. I would imagine Gary probably beat up a little bit on your Columbus Blue Jackets over the years.
Yeah, Gary was all right. Look, just ask Gary for one question for me. I saw what he did to your body when you trained to run with Oprah there in the New York Marathon.
Yeah.
Ask him what's the quickest way for me to go from a 33 waist to a 32? That's what I want to get to, and I've been having trouble getting there.
You think
tell him I don't want those goofy meals he was giving you.
You really think I'm going to bother him with your crap? Do you really believe that?
Hey? Go Krakens. Go Krakens.
Go Krakens. Hey, next week, as you continue this torrid training camp that could lead you to a contract here on the Real Kyper at Noon Show, we're going to break down all the qualifying rounds to start August 1st. All right? Without giving anything away, give me one series that intrigues you the most.
Oh, to me, it's got to be Toronto and Columbus. I think it brings everything to it. But I also think Calgary, Winnipeg could be an amazing series. And what about Minnesota and Vancouver?
I know you're naming them all.
I'm looking at all.
I asked you for one.
There's the only one that I'm not excited about is Edmonton, Chicago, unless Crawford's back and healthy, and that's a question mark.
What about Pitt and Montreal?
Oh, I forgot that one. That intrigues me too.
If you knew Sidney Crosby, we think he's probably got a little tweak maybe somewhere, or he wants to be 100%. Would you keep him out of that first game against the Montreal Canadiens?
Because if you lose the first game, you're in trouble in a 3 out of 5. I'm using him, even if I have to just use him on the power play. He's there. Don't get down 1-0 in a 3 out of 5.
All right, listen. What's the plans for the RV this weekend?
It's docked. Waiting till the fall tour when we head back.
Oh, come on!
It's stationary. Well, we may use it to go golfing some weekend, but right now it's anchored.
All right. Well, listen. Congratulations on a great week here at on the Real Kyper at Noon Show.
Congratulations! You lasted all week. Good job, man.
All right. We'll see you Monday, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. James Douglas Maclean. Did I get that right?
Perfect.
All right. Have a good one.
Take care, man.
All right, what a great way to finish off this week. Thank you for tuning in all week on the Real Kyper at Noon Show. We've had a lot of fun with a lot of great guests. How about finishing off the week with one of my favorite guests? Don't tell Doug Maclean or the others this, but this guy right here, you're going to love listening to. 21 years in the National Hockey League, over 6 teams, including a Stanley Cup with the Calgary Flames in '89. A great hockey story, but the real story is the post-career and what Gary Roberts has been able to do since retiring from the National Hockey League. He is now considered one of the top high-performance trainers in the world, and he trains some of our biggest NHL superstars, the likes of Connor McDavid, Steven Stamkos, James Neal, who's resurrected his career with the Edmonton Oilers. Ladies and gentlemen, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Gary Roberts. Robs, first of all, where the heck are you? I'm not surprised.
I'm in a gym, Kyper.
Yeah, no kidding.
It's been a crazy world, and I appreciate the intro. I should have hired you as my agent years ago.
Yeah.
But I am in Richmond Hill at the National Training Rinks. We put a facility in here. It was going to be a little bit of a boutique show gym for our company, and with our endorsement with Adidas. We were starting that process prior to COVID. Fortunate that before things really got crazy in the last few months in our world, we were able to get this place opened. And basically we've been, running just our professional hockey players through here during the break, trying to keep them as close to ready as we could. And then most recently, with the restrictions being lifted a little bit, we've been able to add small group training for elite athletes that are preparing for their seasons, hopefully.
So let me get this straight, Robs. This is your new permanent home. Does this mean that the likes of Stamkos and Connor McDavid and Phil Kessel aren't running into your wife's refrigerator looking for snacks?
Correct. I've had to kick them all out of my house. I only let them come once a year. We have a sports day at my house in Uxbridge, and that's all I can handle. I have 3 kids, and when you put 30 pro hockey players in my house, it gets ugly. There's not a lot of food left.
Well, first of all, the players wouldn't have to rent or own anything during the summer because your place is spectacular. You've got beach volleyball, you've got a basketball court, you've got a rink that converts, I guess, into a shooting gallery. Like, this place is spectacular, yep. Robs.
Well, we love our Uxbridge home for sure. We've made a decision to make a move over this way for work reasons. We've been there for 13 years since I retired, basically, from the National Hockey League. So our house, the retreat, is for sale. So I've been trying to get our
come
guys.
On. No.
Yeah, I'm trying to say, guys, we need you guys to buy the retreat. It'll be our new summer training facility, and you guys can live there, train there. So I'm working on my guys. No luck so far, but we have been really fortunate to live in a great community, and we'll miss Uxbridge, but we're actually probably heading to Aurora, and that's where this new facility is. It's in Richmond Hill, just south of Aurora. All our kids go to school in Aurora, so it's just finally time for us to make the move. But we'll miss it. Sure.
Connor could buy that with loose change in his pocket, for goodness sakes.
I'm working on it. If I can keep him out of Muskoka long enough, he might do it. But anyways, it's all good. We're making it work. It's been an unfortunate industry to be in, of course. As many have suffered through this terrible time that we've had. But fortunately, our family's healthy, and our players have done their best to try to stay close, and they're getting ready to go back to work. So we're now in a position where we can prepare younger athletes for their seasons and put our efforts into that. And hopefully we're all going to get a chance, cross our fingers, to watch a little hockey soon.
Everybody that was watching me now is going to click over to the real estate channel to find your property in Uxbridge and maybe even put a bid on it. So
that would be nice.
No.
I'll send you some points.
Don't leave us, please. Don't leave us till at least after we're done speaking to you. Robs, it's always tough to find a secondary career for all of us. Feel very fortunate. I got 20 years at Sportsnet as a broadcaster, and I get to do this now. Others get into coaching, scouting, management. You chose a different path, and you now are one of the top trainers in the world. And I'm just wondering about the process. Last time I checked, I don't think we saw a diploma, a BA in science, or anything like that. You really got your education from tough times personally for you with a broken neck, and I think in the early 2000s You had labrum surgery, and if I'm not corrected, both shoulders at the same time were in a sling.
Yeah, pretty close. They were like 4 weeks apart. Once I could, to say it bluntly, once I could wipe my bum with my right arm, they did my left shoulder. So that's basically what it went through for a period of time in Toronto after the 2002 playoffs. I had both biceps repaired, both labrums repaired. And people say to me, gosh, your neck surgery must have been tough. And I said, well, my 2 neck surgeries I had, I'll be honest, yes, I was very restricted. I was in a halo for a period of time. But the 2 shoulder surgeries within 4 weeks of each other, those were the toughest surgeries I think I came back from. I was fortunate to have Matt Nickel, the strength coach of the Toronto Maple Leafs at that time, and Dr. Mark Lindsay. And basically those 2 rehabbed me for 6 months to get me back to play after those tough shoulder surgeries. I found those to be the most painful in my career.
So is this where the interest really started in going down this path? I know at times in my career, I fantasized or visualized being a broadcaster, but you, a fitness trainer to the NHL stars, I mean, that's where you were thinking all along, or did it just evolve there?
Well, I would say that, at age 30, when you got to remember, at age 30, I was sitting in an arena in October in Calgary. I had retired in June after the NHL awards. And so I'd been retired for 5 months. I didn't love myself. I didn't love my life. I was struggling to get through every day at 30 years old and no career. So when I had that opportunity through a lot of great people that helped me to try to reinvent myself, to come back and make that comeback. For me, that is what drove me to do what I do today. I went through 18 months of a lot of stress, a lot of soul searching, trying to figure out what I wanted to be. And, in the end, I realized that I wanted to give it another opportunity to go back and play hockey. And if it wasn't for all the great people that had helped me along the way, I don't believe I would be in this industry today. And I really feel like, this industry, whether it's strength and conditioning, physiotherapy, holistic nutrition, all those elements of high performance training, if it wasn't for the people that helped me at age 30, I wouldn't have made a comeback. I wouldn't be, I'd question whether I would be here today. 24 years later, after that experience, I believe that this industry deserves more respect. It deserves what it really is. It's about people. That honestly, it's an industry that I don't think makes the dollars that they should make. And I believe for me, it's an industry that I wanted to help people understand and appreciate what these people in the fitness and wellness industry really do for people. And I've been fortunate to put an amazing team together that are very, very passionate about preparation and they walk the walk, they talk the talk, they walk the walk kind of thing, right? They live like I live, and I couldn't be more happy to see the players that we have helped along the way become the best that they can be.
So when you suffered your broken neck, the advice was from some doctors was to shut it down. You are risking your life. So what happened between that advice and you deciding to come back? Because one doctor told me after my concussion, shut it down. You get hit in the head like that, you could die. I'm like, okay, I'm done. You said, no, I'm not done.
Well, yeah, it's a funny thing. Going back to that time, the injury was not necessarily a broken neck. They called it, pyramidal stenosis, where I basically lost the use of my limbs, right? So my right and left arm had atrophied to the point that, I hold my right arm up and it would just fall back down, right? I did the muscle test in 1994. You remember the muscle test, the doctor tested my shoulder, and I'd hold it up and it would fall down. I'd have to actually push it up. And I remember the doc looking at me, and his name was Dr. Lowell Van Zyden. He was a Calgary Flame doctor. And he said, "Are you serious? You can't hold your arm up?" And I'm like, "No, I can't hold my arm up." And he's like, "Oh boy." He said, "Well, you've obviously got severe nerve damage. You'll heal over the summer." And that was out I went for Game 7 of the 1994 Stanley Cup playoffs. And I actually had to have help getting dressed, right? And I was out on the ice playing in that game. So I go from there and to where I am today. I've had it's just been an amazing ride. It's been none of us go through life without challenges, right? We all have. I'm not the first guy that came back from a really serious injury to continue my career, but I am so grateful for the people that I've come across along the journey that have helped me be where I am today. And I'll be honest, a lot of the stuff we do, I feel like, just what we've done over these last 3 months to try to help young players. I want players to have an unbelievable experience playing the game of hockey. And I want them to appreciate the opportunity they have to play. And I think that's the messaging that I continue to share with everybody. The game can be taken away from you like that, right? Enjoy every day, but put your heart and soul into being the best player and person you can.
I'm sorry for smiling, but sometimes I envision you telling that to an 18-year-old or 19-year-old and them looking at you going, "Yeah, right."
Yeah, I'm invincible. Like we thought when we were 18, we're invincible, right? We're never going to get hurt. We're just going to play a healthy career, and we're going to play forever.
It's going to last forever, and it'll last forever.
And we all realize that's not the case. It's not the case. It can end like that. So enjoy it.
If you think you didn't like your life when you were 30, imagine us who had to watch you try to be a hockey broadcaster on TSN back then.
Mm-hmm. Darren Natishan? Was it Darren?
How was that experience? How was that experience trying to turn yourself into a broadcaster? Not that easy, eh?
I sucked mercifully. When I left there, he was so good. He was saving me the whole show, and you know what? It was one of those things when you retire, and you went through this. You got to find a way to sit on the fence. You don't want to bash the players that you just played with, but you're trying to be as honest as you can be without somebody being mad at you when the show's over.
Not that easy.
I found it really tough. And when you couldn't put a sentence together for the first few months of being a broadcaster, I was feeling badly for you. And then you turned out to be the real Kyper.
All right.
You became a star, bud. You became. But it's like you said earlier. We all struggle. We all struggle when we retire from the game that has given us so much, and it's given us our itinerary for the day. We have this itinerary. We get it from our PR guy, and we're like, okay, this is what I'm doing this week, right? All of a sudden, your career's over. You have no itinerary, and now we're all searching. So I'm happy for the Jeff O'Neills of the world, the Nick Kyprioses, the Glenn Healey's, Curtis Josephs, all the players that I played with that have found a way to do something life after hockey. We all will say the same thing. It flat out sucks for the first while when your career's over, because you don't know what you're good at. And you've put your life into being the best hockey player you can be, but all of a sudden now you're like, okay, what else can I be? And it's
I feel tough transition. Very tough transition.
I feel so tough, so badly for the guys that have struggled through it. Well, and I struggled through it. And fortunate. We're very fortunate, you and I.
We do have probably far too many that are struggling, and people see our success story and they assume everybody's successful, but that's not the case. But I can say that since Glenn Healey has taken over the NHL alumni, he's done a terrific job in re-engaging all of our ex-players out there, and look for great things out of the NHL alumni as we continue to march along. Now, I want to touch a little bit about this famous. So Mark Messier, they talk about the look, right? The look. You have an intensity that I don't think I've seen in many players. And it's not an on and off switch. Now, you mentioned, some of your ex-teammates. I unfortunately did not get a chance to play with you as a teammate. I battled against you. Both platers. You guys won the Memorial Cup. You knocked us out of the playoffs there. And then we battled a little bit in our careers. But I really kind of got to know you post-career. And the one thing that I've always had an appreciation for you is this friggin' intensity that just cannot shut off. It is 24/7 with Gary Roberts, the way he thinks, the way he eats, the way he sleeps. Your poor wife, I know it's a bit of a joke within some of the players in terms of how intense you are. Were you always like this? Is this you as a kid? Did you evolve into this? And are you at all able to kind of tone it down or shut it down, or is that just impossible?
Well, I have a 14-year-old boy now. His name's Noah. And he says to me, Dad, like, why are you so intense all the time? And I'm like, son, it's just the way it is. Like,
it's just the way it is. That's the best answer you could give him. It's just the way it is.
Like, it is. But unfortunately, I said, like, in today's game, you've got to find a way to have that inner intensity, but it's got to be just a little more maybe controlled than your father used to be. I would say, Kipper, for me, my life, I always was a really competitive guy, and I've never felt like I was ever the most skilled player to come along. I always felt like I had to work really hard for what I got.
Rob, you scored 50 goals.
I know, but I would say I worked but you think about early in my career, I can remember Joe Newendike. I was fighting all the tough guys, and I don't mean all of them. Like, I was fighting guys, and I'm not going, like, I was fighting guys that were in my weight class. Let's just say that. And I remember Joe Newendike saying to me one day, I was playing with Newendike and Lube, and Newendike looked at me and said, Rob, you don't need to fight that guy. You don't need to fight, Gord Donnelly, right? You don't need to fight Jimmy Mann. Like, you're a better player. Like, you're a better player. And it was something one of my best friends said to me early in my career that kind of like switch went on, and I looked at him. I'm like, yeah, you're right. I don't need to fight that guy. And then it was, I did the same in junior though, Kipper. I fought for the first few years in junior, and then it's like I started to score goals. And then I did the same thing in the National Hockey League, and then I started scoring goals. So it was just my path. My path was like, maybe that created some space for me. They always say, players that play like I did got a little more space at times. And I was fortunate, and I say this all the time, I played with some really great players. And the role that I played on a line was a role that not many guys really like to do. So I got to play with some of the best players. I think about the players I played with my career, buddy, and I'm grateful to have played with those guys. But I always talk about how many guys I put in the Hall of Fame, right? Because you look at Newendike, Ronnie Francis, those kind of those players, Matt Sundin. Yeah, I had some amazing centermen that I played with.
You were the ultimate power forward, buddy.
I was fortunate, and they helped me. Well, like to say, when you play with better players, well, I still talk often about Sergei Makarov, and Sergei Makarov, Hall of Famer. I remember always yelling at him, Sergei, over here, I'm open. And he finally comes back to the bench, and he said, Robs, why you yell at me? I see you. Go to net. And that's what he used to always say to me, right? And if you look at the stats, I think Sergei Makarov might have been the first assist on, 39 of my 53 goals the year that I scored 53 goals. So I was grateful to play with good players, but I filled a role on a line that allowed me that job or that opportunity, which I grasped. And it required first man on the forecheck, physical every night, right? That intensity that you talk about.
Yeah.
That's the kind of game I needed to play to be successful.
No matter what, and feel good about yourself, right?
Yeah. feel good about something. When I'm hanging in the slot looking for a one-timer, you know how lost I was? I was like, what am I doing out here?
Yeah,
I don't need to be in the high slot. I got to be behind.
Yep.
Yeah, I got to be behind the net, battling along the wall, behind the goal line, battling for pucks, getting pucks to my, to the Alex McGillneys of the world and Matt Sundins of the world. That's what they wanted, eh? Matt Sundin would just say, "Robs, go get me the puck." Okay, Mats. Okay.
Robs, I gotta here on the Real Kyper at Noon show. I gotta tell a story, and I don't think I've ever told it before. This isn't about your intensity. This is actually about not an intense Gary Roberts, a peacekeeper Gary Roberts. You know where I'm going with this?
Right.
I think it would have been.
Know where you're going with
it would have been 2006, and I think you guys are getting ready for a hockey season. And if my memory serves me right, Eric Lindros had just signed with the Toronto Maple Leafs. Am I there?
Yeah, you might be a year away from there. It might have been earlier. It might have been during the lockout, but 2000.
Yeah. Okay, so we're in that area.
2004. I think it was 2004-05 when I was playing for the Leafs, but we were locked out and we were skating out of North York, Toronto, where Eric Lindros used to get ice for us.
Yes. And like an idiot,
you've had more concussions than me. That's why I remember this a little more clear than you.
I'm 6 years removed from retiring, and like an idiot, I'm going to go out there with the likes of Joe Nieuwendyk, Gary Roberts, Ty Domi, Eric Lindros, and there must have been 10 of us, 12 of us, and it's getting rather intense, and we're in a scrimmage, and now Ty and the Big E, Eric Lindros, get into a little bit of a stick situation. So now it's one-up time. So Ty, I don't know who started it, but all I know is once someone went, then the next guy tapped a little harder and a little higher above the ankle. And then the next whack was at the top of the shin pads. And then the next whack was at the pants. And you could see the sticks actually escalating. And then it gets to the point where Ty says, "I've had enough of this." And he takes his stick right behind his head and comes right across, and he's going to hit he can't reach Big E, so he's going to actually come right off the top and get him on the top of the head. And at the last second, who decides to jump in and try to break it up? You.
Yeah, me.
And what happened?
Not a smart move.
What happened?
I can't remember what happened. That's the problem. Remember? I got knocked out with Ty Domi's hockey stick I think it rebounded off Eric's shoulder and came back and hit me right in the face and knocked you out. Not like right out. I was laying on the ice. I was and now we're sitting there and you're out. And we're all sitting there going, out. Oh my God, just what happened here? What just happened here? Am I dreaming this? Gary Roberts is out like a trout. And now we get you back in about a minute, 30 seconds a minute, and you're cut. And now cut, wide open, bleeding all over the ice. I remember waking up bleeding on the ice.
Now we got to get you to a hospital. And thank goodness I knew a doctor within about 5 minutes away. It was actually the emergency room. And I make a quick call, and of course I can't mention his name or else I'll get him in big trouble. But he's like, "Oh, okay, all right, bring him up, bring him in the back door. We found an exit door. We didn't go through emergency at all, and did a couple of tests on you. He sewed you up, and off we went." And I'm sitting there going,
"I know.
Oh my gosh! I mean, I'm too old for this. You guys, you still had a lot of money on the table there, but what a crazy skate that was that day."
Crazy skate. I remember I was so mad at those two guys. I remember walking in. I don't know if it was maybe the next day. I might have taken the next day off. I can't remember if it was the next day, but it was maybe a day later. I walked in with jerseys. We were picking the teams, and I threw the same color at both those guys. And I said, "You two donkeys can play the same team today. If you want to fight each other today, you're on your own."
That was awesome. Hey, listen, they say that the great ones have a vision far before anyone else. And I know that in your latter part of your career, it was just a momentum builder in terms of fitness and eating well. And I mean, did it get to the point where you were starting to drive some of your teammates crazy because you were willing to have that lifestyle and some of them may have not? And was that a bit of a challenge to try to get some teammates on board?
Well, yeah, I would say, I really enjoyed it. I tried to be not like, I probably was over the top, most guys would say, but I really tried to share and enjoy the last part of my career. Once I came back, obviously it was sad to leave Toronto, in 2005. I did go to Florida, did not enjoy playing in Florida, did not, you talk about intensity and passion for the game. I got to Florida after leaving Toronto during, from 2000 to 2005, and Toronto was amazing, right? Like a great experience, crazy intensity every day. And I go to Florida, and I remember, forgetting my parking pass in Florida. And I drove in, and this older gentleman says, "Excuse me, where's your parking pass?" And I said, "Well, I don't have it. I left it in my wife's vehicle. They only give us one pass per couple." And he says, "What's your name?" And I said, "Gary Roberts." I said, "I play for the Panthers." And he said, "Are you sure you play for the Panthers?" I said, "Yes, I play for the Panthers." He says, "You look too old to play for the Panthers." And so I went from being in Toronto where they're crawling on your car to get into the arena to being in Florida where I couldn't even get into the rink to go to a game. So I didn't have a great experience in Florida. I really didn't. So go ahead.
I was just going to say some of your teammates, whether in Toronto and Florida, might have rolled your eyes 15 years ago, but now everybody's on board. They understand that their lifestyle can mean the difference between, $1 million, $20 million, $50 million for some of them. I mean, everybody seems to be on board, and we know that because of the guys that clamor to go work out with you. You have even turned hot dog loving Phil Kessel into a top-notch student with the Gary Roberts performance, right?
Well, yeah. Listen, I mean, Phil he's been so much fun to have, and people always ask, "What's Phil like?"
So what is Phil like? Kessel. Tell us.
Phil wants to come and have fun. Yes, he loves to do what he's good at, but most of us really like to do what we're good at. We don't really like to do what we're not so good at. But Phil has bought in. I think since Phil's been with us, yes, he came to us through Pittsburgh. After he's with us, he's won 2 Stanley Cups, right? And now he's in Phoenix. He still works with us. He comes back in the summer, whether he was in Pittsburgh or Phoenix, he comes back and spends time with us. We love having him. He keeps our gym between him and James Neal. It's a very, I always say we've created a really professional environment, but it's a loose enough environment that the boys can be themselves. They can have fun. It's like what do we miss?
Team within a team, right?
Yeah, we miss the dressing room. We miss the camaraderie of being in a dressing room with our teammates. It's one of the greatest things that hockey players miss when they retire.
Guys,
I have that in my gym, and Phil brings that. When Phil comes to the gym, it is just feels like our gym has a little more energy, and we have a little bit of a little bit more fun. And I have to say to Phil once in a while, "Okay, Phil, you've got 330 pounds on your back right now doing a single leg rear foot elevated split squat. Please pay attention. Don't be yelling at Nealer at the other end of the gym," which usually is happening, right? Phil's got 330 on his back and he's yelling at James Neal, who's 3 racks down training. And so that part of it is, but it's amazing. He is an amazing athlete.
330. Phil's a mule.
And when you see him pull his sled over 30 yards and the ground spits up behind him, like you realize how much power this guy has when he pulls the sled and when he does like heavy rear foot elevated split squats. Just for us, it's just trying to continually work with them and get them to understand that the nutrition and the lifestyle is a huge part of him playing into his mid to late 30s, right? Like we all know at some point that we start to slow down. And if you're not training right, then between that 25 and 32 age, it's really tough to play deep into your 30s nowadays, let alone 40s.
And when they realize how much when they realize how much money is on the table.
Yeah. Like I say to every player, I have players that we're working with now that are going to go to Europe in a few weeks, and I'm like, guys, like, it's not the NHL, but you're making money playing professional hockey. Play for as long as you can. Like, I love what I do today. I really do. I love what I do. But nothing's more fun than playing the game.
Two superstars that you've had under your wing for quite a while. Steven Stamkos, and guys like Steve really piss me off because they're just great at everything. Baseball, hockey, track, anything that they try once, they're fantastic in. And then the other guy is Connor McDavid, where I don't know if he's human. If I have a thought and I want to get it to my legs, the route takes the longest way possible. I think he's just wired different. It's phenomenal. His reactionary time, and you've seen it firsthand.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen it. I think we've watched him since he was 15 years old, right? The stuff that he does and the commitment he makes to the game, to his lifestyle. We really, we use a guy like Connor who, Connor watched Stammer. Stammer was that guy too. Stammer, he had fun, but Stammer, he worked. He worked, and Connor got to see that. Now we have young players coming in that are watching Connor. Both those players have put so much time into their training and the way that they live their lives. And they came to us with obviously great skill. They didn't, they didn't get my hands, right? They obviously came here. They were great players when they came to us at 15 and 18. But we've had an opportunity to spend so much time with those two guys, and they've been unbelievable mentors for many other young players that have come through our program. When you see the way that they not just train, but the way that they treat our staff, the way that they treat me, you understand why they are as great as they are. And it's so cool to watch those guys play. Really is.
During the COVID break, did you work with Connor at all? Because all the reports are telling me he's even faster than he was last year.
Oh, it's so funny. I saw the news article the other day that players think Connor's actually gotten faster over the break. And I don't know if this is public knowledge, but that Connor drove a motorhome from Edmonton home so he could get back home during the break. He actually drove a motorhome home, and then he trained with us for the last at least 2 months, maybe 3 months, close to 3 months. So he's been here training. Once they opened it up, that we were able to train the pro athletes inside. They were training outside for a while, and then Connor was training inside here at the Richmond Hill facility. So obviously I saw that article about him getting faster over the break, and I sent it to my whole team, right? All the amazing trainers and coaches that I have within my team. And I just said, hey, look at this, great job, team. This is the kind of stuff that Connor does though, right? Like, you talk about getting back, guys are going back to play hockey right now. Could you imagine during our time, if we had a 3-month break where we really didn't know whether we were going to play or not play? How do you prepare for that? I don't know how you prepare for it, right? The players have been in such a tough situation for 3 months, are we playing? Aren't we playing? How hard do we work? How much do we try to get on the ice? It's just a really, really unique time in professional sports for athletes that had to, on their own, find the people and the help to keep them ready. I can't imagine what players went through.
I find the next couple of weeks so fascinating, as you said, to be shut down for 4 months and then to come back in. So this isn't necessarily, and we've had discussions on this, and you mentioned this early in the show. This isn't necessarily on what you've done in the last month or two. This might really come down to how you've been training for the last few years. So let me ask you this. Your program now, will it be more challenged now over this 24-team tournament than it's ever been challenged before? True or false?
I would say, well, our program, I think I'm really praying, cross my fingers, that the players that have bought into the whole philosophy of GRHPT, the lifestyle, when you're, I always say your biggest challenge is what you do when you're on your own. How you take care of yourself, how do you find a way to eat, how do you find a way to recover, how do you find a way to train when you have nothing? I mean, this has been our philosophy since I started this thing, right? Since near the end of my career.
Yeah.
Every day trying to find ways to get better. And I'm really hoping that the players that have been with us for the length of time that they have, we've had athletes that have been with us for over 10 years now, since I've retired. I'm hoping those players really, really succeed. And I think what they've learned from our program over the last 10 years is going to help them, and would have helped them during these last 4 months when they've had very little resources to stay ready to play. And lifestyle is a huge part of it. What have you done lifestyle-wise?
I'm sure, well, there is no lifestyle anymore. You're in a bubble, baby, right? I mean, it's hockey and it's eating, sleeping, shitting, and hockey. That's it. So have you had discussions with your players in terms of off days or meals before or after, fluids, all of that? Or is that, have they known that for the last little while, or do you have to revisit that now in the bubble?
Yeah, so we talk about maintenance during this time. Obviously, if you weren't doing your work prior, if you're one of those guys, which I would say there's probably a third of them, that thought there's not a chance we're playing, and probably weren't really preparing, right? And then you've got a third of the guys that were hard workers but didn't have the resources to train. I mean, and then you got the third of players that are always in shape. No matter where they are, they find a way to get the job done. I feel it's such a wide range of the players. Did you see the Vancouver Canucks? What do they call that? An army crawl that they did the other day? Did you see that?
What'd you think of that?
Did you see that?
What did you think of it?
Well, I thought it was crazy at first, but I thought it was flat out hard as hell.
Yeah.
And you saw the players that were less fit. And my good old buddy Lauren Goldenberg, that's been a strength coach for me forever, love Goldie. He commented on Instagram that he said, look at the players in the back of the pack that didn't have the core stability to get the job done, and there was guys that were almost a blue line behind each other. So the point to that is, I think the fitness level of the NHL players that are going into this round robin, whatever this tournament is they're going into. This chaos that they're going into. I do worry for players that haven't had the resources to prepare to play. I really do. I just think it's really hard for a 22 or 23-year-old player that doesn't have a lot of resources, possibly, to be jumping into the National Hockey League Stanley Cup playoffs. As we know, the intensity of that fight is extreme, and I just know that the teams, I'm sure, know this too, and they probably have extra therapists. I know there's some therapists that work with us that are going into the bubble to help manage all the soft tissue for the players, nutrition, sleep, soft tissue treatments,
avoiding dehydration.
So for the next 3 months, it's about survival, and it is about doing everything you can every day to prepare for the next game. Whether it's contrast tubs, whether you're filling up an ice tub in your hotel room, right? You're filling up in your ice tub. You're doing it every you can every day to make it through. But the workouts, I would say, are minimum. I always say when you're in this situation, you do extended warm-ups and you do long cool downs.
Yeah.
And that helps you stay healthy on a daily basis. So you're going to make it through this dogfight for the next 3 months. And then you'll get a chance to hopefully recover for a period of time.
Hearing all week Sidney Crosby skating on his own, it sounds like maybe he's got something tweaked or something nagging him a little bit. You got to be concerned now going into that scenario. And I know they've talked a little bit about ice conditions, and you hear from Coley Campbell in the league, and they're not concerned. A lot of their battle is temperature driven. Usually this time of year, doors are open and there's 18,000 people going in and out, and that plays a huge factor. But we're going to see the same ice, three hard, intense games on the same ice surface 3 times a day. I mean, what's the ice going to look like in 3 days into this tournament? And that's when you worry about the stops and the starts and the catching an edge and the pulled groin.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm crossing my fingers for the players, buddy. I really am. I know how hard the wear and tear is on hips and groins during the warmer months, right, when you're going into playoff time. And a lot of the players haven't had an opportunity to prepare. I know there's extra players on the rosters. I know teams are carrying 30 guys per team roughly. Unfortunately, and I don't even want to say it, but unfortunately, they're probably going to use everybody on their roster to get through this. And I just hope that the teams have enough treatment for the players and enough healthy foods and water. And, I'm sure they're doing all that stuff. But if they're not going to make it through the fight because it's going to be a battle.
I know you really enjoy working with many individuals, and they're all on different teams. I don't understand at this point why a team wouldn't just hire you and say, no, you're our guy. And, you're in the Toronto area. I find it kind of funny that you're not working for the Toronto Maple Leafs. You're an ex-player. You're in their backyard, man. Are we ever going to see you just say, "Hey, listen, I like working with you players, but I'm going to work on it. I'm going to work with one team exclusively." You think that might come somewhere down the road?
Yeah, I would like to think. I don't want to move, unfortunately, and I know what it's like. Like, I've been part of Pittsburgh for 3 years, Vegas for 3 years. I just know when you're in the trenches and you want to be in the game. And you need to build relationships with players and organizations. You need to be in the trenches every day. And I have 3 young kids at home. I have a 10-year-old, 11-year-old, a 14-year-old. I have an amazing 30-year-old daughter that's living in Kitsilano, British Columbia as a geologist. I've been very fortunate. I have a wonderful family and wife. And I just feel like they're too young for me to get into where I'm going to go work for an organization and have to be in that city every day. Of course, if it was Toronto, it'd be a little different if I just had to drive down the street. But to be fully in front of the players every day, at this point, I've really enjoyed doing what I'm doing, and it's been successful. And I've been fortunate. Like, I have our head strength and conditioning coach, Adrian, Sylvie, nutrition plus training, Lucas, our speed coach, John Murray, Brian. My coaches have been with me for so long. I love my team. I've developed like I always said, I had a team behind the team that helped me get through my career, and I've been so fortunate to build a team behind the team to help players prepare. And I have a wonderful, wonderful team and company going right now with my people, that it's going to be tough for me to marry myself to one team. Do I want to be in the game? Yes. At some point, will I just be involved in player development for an organization? I can see that as being a possibility as I get older, because I've had to hire a team. I'm 54 years old. I'm not able to demonstrate the exercises like I used to. I'm not able to get under the squat rack and kid around like I can still play.
Oh, shut up. I've seen the videos. You post videos. You're working out. Yeah. You're making me look bad.
Buddy, I am so not that. I guarantee you, like, this COVID thing's been hard on me too. My body is beat up right now, and I'm trying to survive myself. So I'm not as comfortable in the gym every day. I'm trying to get outside the gym. I love player development. I love working with young players. So being involved with an organization is something that I'd like to do. I just can't marry myself to one organization where I'm going to have to be there at 8:30 every morning in the gym at 54 years old. I don't care how good of food I eat. I can't do that.
Hey, listen, I got a co-host who's on a PTO contract, Doug Maclean. Can you put him on a program that might have to involve a glass of wine or two? Is that even out there?
Yeah, well, listen, I mean, that's part of, a glass of wine's no problem. Listen, I tried to come to
four, maybe it's the four I'm talking about.
You can have 2 glasses of wine, actually, probably. You gotta try and reduce the sugars, right? I always say fat's not the enemy, sugar is. So pick a drink that's got less sugar in it and less calories. I hear that Buddha. Is it Buddha?
Little Buddha, yes.
Little Buddha. Little Buddha. I have some of my athletes that are in their 20s. I've been sipping on some Little Buddha, commenting on how good they are.
Organic. You're a big organic guy, right?
Yeah.
No sugar, right. Gluten-free, keto-friendly. I mean, we checked a lot of box with Little Buddha.
Correct. So we try to reduce the sugars. So Doug Maclean, well, we got to work on the nutrition probably more than the wine. And I tried to bring food to Sportsnet. How many years ago I came down and did a show with you guys?
They're dumb.
Tried to get you guys on the food program.
No, they order the pizza. They order the pizza in between the first game and the second game, and I tell them, don't get pizza. It slows you down. It takes your energy away. Did they listen?
Yeah. I know. That's why I couldn't get into broadcasting, because I don't think I could. I couldn't keep myself away from the bad nutrition that happens down there every night. It's ugly. It's ugly. So I'm going to stay in the gym where I'm very comfortable and where I've got an amazing team trying to keep us lean and mean, as they say.
Well, listen, congratulations on putting an amazing team together. Congratulations, Robs, on having a fantastic post career. You care, you love the game. That'll never change. Your players are lucky to have you around. Thanks for doing this on the Real Kyper at Noon show. And please do not be a stranger, all right? We expect you back here soon again.
Appreciate it very much, Kyper. And great seeing you, buddy. Appreciate your time.
Hey everybody, thanks for joining me in my first full week ever on the Real Kyper at Noon show. If you enjoyed what you saw this week, click the videos, watch other ones, tell your friends' friends. Real Kyper at Noon is here. Thanks for joining.